money under your mattress or riding the roller coaster of Wall Street is your retirement plan? Well, I wouldn't want to be banking on that strategy. It's time to diversify your savings and retirement assets into physical metals like gold and silver. That's where Advantage Gold comes in. When you call 800-741-GOLD, we'll send you a free gold kit that explains how rolling over your IRA or 401k into gold could not only supercharge your retirement, but maybe even help preserve your sanity. And let's be real, when's the last time you ever heard someone say, "Hey, sell all your gold"? Exactly. Never. The number's simple. 800-741-4653. And if you can spell, even better. That's 800-741-GOLD. Always consult with your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-741-GOLD.
Controversy continues following the death of a former college football star.
The attorney of the late Kyron Lacey is questioning his involvement in a deadly car accident. Lacey had been accused of negligent homicide for his alleged role in the crash last year. New footage, though, is sparking national attention as Lacey's lawyer says the video shows the athlete was too far away from the crash to be considered responsible. Lacey had played at LSU and had declared for the 2025 NFL Draft. In April, Kyron Lacey committed suicide. Jason Walker reporting.
According to minutes from last month's Federal Reserve Board meeting, most members of the Interest Rate Setting Committee supported further reductions to its key interest rate this year. A majority voted to reduce the key rate by a quarter point in September. News and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. A cold front approaching. It'll start to feel like fall again. This evening, look for a low temperature of 62. Tomorrow, we're cloudy early. That should clear up for a nicer afternoon. The high topping out around 71. We're in the low to mid-70s as high temperatures the rest of the week. While at night, look for our lows to land in the mid-50s. We should be dry all the way in the next week. I'm Cal Moss with your Odd Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point.
Make The Point Radio.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of
Night edition of Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornblut, the plumber from Columbia. Chris Bergen at the Berge Palace in Sardis. Phone number 888-898-2525, 888-898-2525. And our text line number, as always, brought to you by Larry Lucas Insurance, Columbia and Lexington, 803-900-4847. And tonight, going to throw a little piece of bait at you tonight. Looking ahead to the weekend, South Carolina LSU and Clemson Boston College. On our text line, 803-900-4847, text us your predictions for the games. Not against the spread, just straight up scores. And if you happen to hit it on the money, whether it's the Clemson game or the South Carolina game, we're talking exact score. With your prediction, we're going to treat you to lunch at Seawell's. All right? Ooh. That's one of the most valuable gifts, one of the most valuable prizes you can ever receive in radio history. A delicious Seawell's buffet on us. But you got to hit it exactly. You can't be a point off. Can't be in the neighborhoods. Got to be exact. Make sure you include your name with your text message, 803-900-4847. Give us your score, South Carolina LSU, and Clemson Boston College. Of course, Clemson, Berge should route BC up there, probably will cover up there pretty easily, I would think. I mean, again, you have to kind of consider that their quarterback at Boston College can throw the football, and Boston College can throw the football. But we thought the same thing about North Carolina, and they could do little of either run the ball or throw the ball against the Gamecocks. South Carolina, LSU. I mean, I got to go with LSU here. I mean, the defense is good. It's at night. It's in their Death Valley. Nussmeier is having, even though he struggled, I think, in his last outing, I think that overall he's having a good year. They can run the ball. South Carolina really hasn't proven it can run the ball.
Yeah.
The win over Kentucky, okay, that's fine. Now I'm seeing reporting where they're looking at Mark Stoops and his buyout and that kind of stuff is starting to creep up there. How about North Carolina? Boy, I tell you what, I was in Charlotte today. I was in Charlotte today for ACC tip-off, and we'll have a one-on-one conversation with Brad Brownell. I mean, the Clemson basketball team has nobody returning. Not to take anything away from Dylan Hunter, because he was hurt some last year, and he averaged 5 points a game. The only numbers they have coming back statistically are his. 5 points, 2 assists, and 1 rebound a game, or maybe it was 2 rebounds and 1 assist a game. Those are their only returning numbers because he's the only player on the roster who actually played for Clemson last year. Yeah. Now you got R.J. Godfrey coming back on a boomerang transfer from Georgia. It's a completely new team, and just like really South Carolina's a completely new team. You've got 3 guys back, but none of them played last year of any consequence. So anyway, I was going to talk about North Carolina. They're reporting this afternoon that they are looking at ways to an exit strategy to get rid of Bill Belichick. Can you believe that? An exit strategy to fire one of, by all accounts, one of the greatest coaches of all time. Or is he a great coach? Or was he a coach who just fell into the greatest quarterback of all time? And one of the greatest tight ends of all times, and all those great players that they put together. I mean, yeah, it takes coaching, but it takes players. And honestly, what did Belichick do ever since Brady retired or left New England? What did he do? What did he do with the Patriots? What was his record in his final years with the Patriots? Didn't they go straight downhill after Brady retired and after Gronkowski left? Go back and look. I think they kind of went straight downhill. And, given a chance here at North Carolina, they've done nothing. And now they're looking for ways to fire him or it seems that way. They've now suspended an assistant coach for some stupid reason. And this is a joke to suspend this guy for what they're calling illegal benefits for players because they sold some tickets and they had some people on the sideline. I mean, come on. Schools today are breaking whatever rules there are. They're breaking them left and right, and they're not even thinking about it. They're circumventing all the NIL stuff. They're cutting deals on their own. They're not paying attention to anything. So why are you doing this? I'll tell you why you're doing this, because you owe Belichick $10 million a year, and you're trying to figure out a way to fire him with cause. And I don't know that you're going to be able to do that. They've put themselves in a real pickle, with this situation. What was his deal there, Plummer?
So Tom Brady left in March of 2020. In 2021, they were 10-7, 22-8-9. Both in the 2023 and 24 season, they were 4-13. So
bloop,
yeah,
bloop, 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 bloop. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. How great a coach is he? He didn't do anything when he was the head coach of the Browns for a short time. He ends up
he did finish second one year in the AFC Central.
Okay. Okay. Is that good?
That was the only year he took the Browns to the playoffs.
Okay.
He lost to the Steelers.
Okay.
In the divisional round.
So, look, I'm not questioning. I mean, the guy's got, as a head coach, He's got 7 rings, and it's all about having players and having coaching as well. But I think that he totally was not prepared to put together a staff to come in and be successful at North Carolina. They obviously did not do well with the portal, getting enough quality players, and I mean it's just been a mess there. So we'll see what happens with that. That's an interesting. It's the interesting story. It's the sideline story to keep watching. And they're off this week. That's funny. They were off, then they played a game, and then they're off, and then they go to California to play next. So that story's got. And if you're North Carolina and you want to make a change, I mean, you do it during an off week. So, not saying they're going to do it, but this is what the reporting is around Chapel Hill, that this kind of stuff is taking place. So,
and to further your point about that, Phil, now there's a report coming out that there were fights in the locker room yesterday. I mean, none of this stuff comes out, and certainly none of this probably happens if you're undefeated and ranked inside the top 25. Of
course
not.
But
I think you're spot on about this. These are ways that the UNC brass can say, yeah, we need to get rid of this guy. We've got cause to fire him and avoid having to pay that huge buyout. Yep. They made a mistake, clearly, and now they're trying to find a way to overcome that mistake.
Yeah. So it's a good, fun story for those of us here in South Carolina to watch. As for things around here, of course, they're getting ready for their games coming up this weekend. Dabo Swinney's going to brief the media here in a little bit, and we'll see if there's anything newsworthy coming out of that. We'll have, tonight's Wednesday, so we'll have the first SEC availability report of the week as it pertains to South Carolina LSU and the other SEC teams. Saw today where South Carolina's athletics director, Jeremiah Donati, was on the Gamecock station in Columbia, and part of the conversation he said that he hoped to have, by the end of the month, the opponent named to replace Miami on the schedule next year. Of course, they canceled that series with Miami. Mm-hmm. You know, I've never met. How long has Donati been the AD in South Carolina? I have never met him. You ever met him?
No, it's over a year, right? Wasn't he brought in?
I've never met the guy. We've requested interviews a couple of times, but obviously we're not in the family, I guess, to be able to get an interview. So never met the guy. Never met the guy.
I think he would enjoy being on a program that goes from the upstate to the low country, and talk to the entire state of South Carolina and Gamecock fans across the entire state of South Carolina.
What you got, Plummer?
Just a thought.
January 2nd of this year
is when he took over.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You would think that as an AD coming into a new market, you'd like to maybe meet the people that cover you. Now, I was there when he was introduced, but I didn't go through the handshake line or all that. I think it was because it was a late afternoon thing, and I had to get back over here for the show. So I've never really had a chance to meet him. Like I said, we tried to get him on the show a couple of times, but to no avail.
Yeah, I caught some of that interview today. Very well spoken, and he seems excited about all the new toys, new bells and whistles that the Gamecock fans are going to get to enjoy at Williams-Brice Stadium. Says the majority of the stuff will start as soon as this season is over. They'll work for 9 months, stop for next season, and then finish up presumably after next season with all the improvements they're making over at Williams-Brice.
Yeah, correct. Let's see. That brought to mind this to me, and that is, of course, Clemson played LSU at Clemson this year, and they're scheduled to go to LSU next year. And I guess LSU wants to play that game since it's a return game. I mean, that means LSU's going to play 9 SEC games, and of course they don't have a rivalry game outside their league, so I guess it's not the same situation for them to play Clemson or a team like Clemson.
Yeah, they're not going to let Clemson cancel that without a massive buyout because they want that home game and a big home game for them. So, yeah, they'll have to do the return if you're the Tigers unless you want to pay your way out of that. And then probably we will see those games go away for everybody after next year would be my guess.
Here's another little note here on Belichick in North Carolina. This is from a reporter at WRAL, Pat Welter, who says, in reaching out to his sources about what's going on, and he said his sources are feeling reluctant to share new information as internally the Belichick staff, is trying to find the leak. So he writes, between us and national reports, the leak is far from a few people. So a lot of people. And you know what? I mean, that tells me they're obviously they're not all rowing in the same direction. I mean, if you're a program, an athletic program, and you don't have everybody in the boat rowing in the same direction, then you've got to jettison some people.
Yeah.
You do have to find out who's not rowing in the same direction you are. Some people are rowing against you, and that's a recipe for failure in your program. So,
you ever see the movie Absence of Malice?
Yes.
Tremendous movie with Paul Newman and Sally Field. There's a scene in there where Wilford Brimley, who plays, I think, the assistant district attorney, he talks about, and somebody talks about there was a leak of information to the newspaper, and he said, a leak? Last time we had a leak like this, Noah built himself a boat. I think that's what North Carolina is dealing with right now.
All right, so coming up tonight, we will have, of course, Coach Reedy and Coach Johnson, another edition of Chalk Talk with the two great football coaches. In fact, Coach Reedy is back on American soil.
Oh, good.
And hopefully he's here on American soil for a good while.
On American soil, but in Alaska this time.
No, he's back in Charleston. Shut up, Plumber.
His phone works.
Really?
We can get him on the program tonight.
Hopefully the phone will ring in. And, of course, Coach Johnson is in his condo in Central. He doesn't go anywhere. He's easy to find. SC Wild Night tonight, plus our interview with Clemson basketball coach Brad Brownell. You believe it's his 16th year at Clemson? And there were times and people said, it's time to go. But look what he's done.
He's the dean of coaches in the ACC now, isn't he? Isn't he the oldest, or not oldest, but longest tenured coach in the Atlantic Coast Conference?
I think you're right.
I think that is.
I think
after
you're right.
the retirements that we've seen the last couple of years with obviously Roy Williams and Mike Krzyzewski, and then when Tony Bennett stepped down, I think that elevated Brad Brownell to the number one on that list.
I think you're right about that. So we'll hear that interview, and we've got some South Carolina Clemson football stuff we can get to as well, time permitting. And your phone calls, 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to reach us here on Sports Talk. Learn more about the lottery's impact at sceducationlottery.com/educationwins. Playing for fun is a win for education. We've got some recruiting information coming your way, some other news notes. Also, hey, Detroit's still alive. They rallied to beat Seattle 9-3. I told you, fools, the Yankees and Toronto are going to go back to Canada.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love, and you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
Life insurance isn't for you. It's for those you love the most. For a complete insurance review, call Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County at 864-923-2174, serving Lawrence, Clinton, and the shores of Lake Greenwood.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. That's the sound of a big hit on you and your car or truck. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years, helping people who get injured in car wrecks and truck wrecks. If you have serious injuries, call Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or email me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. That's Corbett. I don't get paid unless I recover for you. Jim Corbett Attorney, for your best recovery from a big hit, 803-765-2968, or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wild from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
When South Carolina's best high school football players take the field at the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, they're backed by a powerful team of their own. As proud title sponsors, your local co-ops celebrate more than just a game. It's a tradition where talent shines, where teamwork matters, and where community spirit takes center stage. Don't miss the 78th Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, December 13th at Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium in Myrtle Beach, powered by your electric cooperative.
All right, phone number 888-898-2525. Beautiful day in South Carolina today. It's going to get a little cooler. And you know what? The beach is still a great place to get to, even when it's a little chilly out there. You know, you just sort of have a fire or throw a blanket over you and your favorite person and just cuddle up. You ever cuddled up, Plummer? You ever cuddled up with anybody besides your mom? Okay. So... So if you are interested, if you're interested in getting down to the beach for the weekend or longer, you want to give Jimmy Smith a call at James Smith Real Estate. That phone number is 843-237-4246, 843-237-4246. Your perfect beach getaway is just a phone call away. Online for more information, Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. You just talk to Jimmy and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I need. Can you help me find something? And he will do just that. His staff will go to work. They'll find you exactly what you're looking for. And maybe you want to buy some property as well. They can certainly help you on that end. 843-237-4246, Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. Give Jimmy Smith a call next time you're thinking about getting down the beach to get away from everything. Again, our phone number, 888-898-2525. Our text line number, 803-900-4847. Shoot us your predictions on South Carolina Clemson. If you hit it on the money, we're going to take you to lunch at Seawell's. Gamecock Tony, he's got the Gamecocks winning 27-24 and Clemson winning 47-10. The Clemson score, I think, is reasonable.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, I think that's reasonable. I can't see the Gamecocks winning this game at LSU unless they really elevate their performance. I mean, Sellers has got to have a great night. He's got to have some running room. They got to keep him healthy. They got to cut down on the penalties. And then defensively, I mean, they've got to hold up front. They've got to stymie LSU's offensive line. They've had some injuries on their offensive line, LSU. They've had to move some people around. But they've got to stymie the offensive line. The speed of LSU's receivers will come into play. Remember them against Clemson. Of course, Clemson's defense played well enough to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
And remember,
Still
Clemson
may have been their best game of the year.
Remember, Clemson was leading going into the third quarter. They were up 10-3. I think it was 10-3 going into the third quarter.
Yeah, failed to score in the second half.
They had the lead. They just couldn't hang on to it. I mean, it's certainly doable. They had LSU on the ropes in Columbia last year, and had some very controversial calls go against them that really changed the complexion of that game. But Nussmeier had a really good game against them last year in Columbia. I think he had like 350 yards passing.
285 to be exact, and 2 touchdowns go along with an interception. The reason I pulled it up, I wanted to go back to your point earlier about South Carolina establishing the ground game. Remember, in that game last year, they rushed for almost 250 yards, and LSU has fixed that portion of their defense. They come in ranked 14th nationally, giving up just 82 yards on the ground. So, or 84.
Yeah.
So the question is, a running attack that's been virtually non-existent for USC, can Carolina find a way to run the football with, somebody other than Lenore Sellers?
Well, I mean, they're going to try. They got 3 guys now that they don't mind working in there with Fuller coming on and getting some work last time out against Kentucky. In that game against Clemson, that Clemson won 17-10. This is a good comparison to kind of see, what you might look for. So Clemson held LSU to 108 rushing yards. All right, Caden Durham had 17 carries for 74 yards. Nussmeier was 28 of 38 for 230 against Clemson. And see their receivers like Aaron Anderson. Now he was kind of on the injury list for them. We'll have to wait and see. Remember, they had the weekend off as well, so they've had a couple of weeks to get healthy. Aaron Anderson had 6 catches for 99 yards, including 55 yards after catch. Juwan Johnson had 5 catches for 31 yards. You go back to Anderson, he had a long catch of 39 yards against the Tigers. Barry Brown, who has great speed, 5 catches for 25 yards. So he completed 29 passes against that Clemson secondary, which that was sort of the first indication that Clemson was having some issues back there in pass coverage. Now, can South Carolina, they're going to have Judge Collier back healthy, so that's good. So they should be whole at the corner spot, and they should be whole at the safety spot. So they should have their secondary in place. Nussmeier is not much of a runner, so he's going to be there for Stewart and Thomas and the defense to try and find in that backfield. Can they get to him? That is the question.
Just like the kid was from Kentucky. Almost like a statue back there, and South Carolina beat him to death. And that's one thing they're going to have to do is put pressure on Nussmeier and force him into some bad throws. But, again, I think it goes back, as well as Carolina's defense may play against LSU, if they don't generate some offense and get that offense figured out. And part of that's going to be how healthy will they be along the offensive line, Phil, and how much did the week off help them maybe heal up some of those wounds along the front, because they've got to get some of those guys back to have a chance here the next month.
And what combination are they going to run out there? I mean, is Thompson going to be starting at left tackle? He's sort of underperformed to this point in the season, to the point where they took him out and put Babalade in there against Kentucky in the latter part of that game. So is it going to be Thompson? Is it going to be Babalade over there? Is Ball going to be the right guard? Is Henry going to be healthy enough to play the right tackle? Who's going to be the starting center? I mean, it's a little sad to be 6 weeks into your season, you're still trying to figure out your best offensive line. No. That is not a good sign. And we'll be back.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. A cold front approaching. It'll start to feel like fall again. This evening, look for a low temperature of 62. Tomorrow, we're cloudy early. That should clear up for a nicer afternoon. The high topping out around 71. We're in the low to mid-70s as high temperatures the rest of the week. While at night, look for our lows to land in the mid-50s. We should be dry all the way in the next week. I'm Cal Moss with your Odd Point local weather.
When your temperatures swing, your comfort shouldn't. At Sweet Comfort Services, we make sure your system's ready for anything. Get our $99 preventative maintenance, a full inspection and tune-up that keeps your equipment efficient, reliable, and safe. Thinking it's time for an upgrade? We offer estimates on new Goodman and American Standard systems. You'll get honest advice, fair pricing, and expert installation. No gimmicks, no surprises. Call 803-331-8143 or visit sweetcomfortservices.com to schedule today.
With SRN News, I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. As the government shutdown continues, staffing shortages have led to more flight delays. A travel industry analyst says the risk of significant disruptions is growing by the day as federal workers whose jobs are deemed critical continue working without pay. In Virginia, former FBI Director James Comey pleaded not guilty to lying to Congress 5 years ago. His trial is tentatively set for January. Authorities have charged a 29-year-old man with igniting the January fire that destroyed the Pacific Palisades neighborhood in L.A. That fire killed 12 people, destroyed nearly 7,000 homes and buildings. Counter-terrorism police in Britain say that the assailant in last week's attack on a synagogue in Manchester that left 2 people dead had pledged allegiance to the Islamic State group. Wall Street, the Nasdaq was up 255. This is SRN News.
I don't know too many folks out there who love paying taxes, but what about getting tax credits? That's appealing, right? My buddy Ken at Broker Solar is in the tax credit business. How would you like a solar battery that helps do two things? First, it serves as an instant generator the moment the power cuts out, and it doesn't even require gasoline. Secondly, it lets you take some control back from the power companies. Yeah, you can use solar power during the peak hours when your power company wants to charge you the most. Oh, and that tax credit on solar batteries, you can get a 30% tax credit right now. This is a phenomenal time to reach out to Ken. He'll come out to your home or your business. He'll give you a comprehensive free estimate, answer any questions. Solar isn't free, but you need to take advantage of those credits when they do come around. Call Ken right now. Save on a solar-powered battery. Online, find him at brokersolar.com or just call Ken, 807-7417. That's 807-7417, Broker Solar.
This fall, discover a place where friendly faces greet you at the door. McCoy Hardware of Lexington, Greg Lynette, and their welcoming team make every visit a breeze with expert advice and genuine hometown care. No more endless aisles or big box blues, just quality products and people who want to know your name. For every project, big or small, find what you need and a neighborly smile at 2028 Augusta Highway. Shop local. Shop happy. McCoy Hardware of Lexington.
When I grew up, I want to be a nurse. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a teacher.
There's never been a better time to start making their dreams come true. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to save for their future education. Contributions are tax deductible, earnings are tax free, and you can start saving right now with any amount. Go to futurescholar.com today to discover the smart, easy way to save for college. That's futurescholar.com.
Experience South Carolina's printing powerhouse. Professional Printers is your trusted partner, bringing over 30 years of expertise in print and graphics. From digital printing to web and sheet-fed solutions, we handle it all with a team of over 100 dedicated professionals. Locally owned and operated, we have 2 locations in the Midlands and serve our customers with pride, ensuring top-notch service and quality in every project. We do it all, including storage and promotional products. Visit proprinters.com and elevate your printing experience with us.
If you're feeling the weight of the world, how about visiting Spa MD in West Columbia? Marcy and her team can provide that perfect massage for individuals or even a couple. Lainey's been several times. She comes home completely revitalized. For a gift, if you're in the doghouse, or just because you love her, check out their options at visitspamd.com or call 251-9400. Leave your stress behind because you know what? You deserve this getaway. Spa MD, 251-9400.
We are back, Sports Talk Media Network, Wednesday night, very busy show. Phone number 888-898-2525. And our text message line, which is brought to you by Larry Lucas Insurance, located in Columbia and Lexington. Call Larry for all your insurance requirements. 803-799-1998, State Farm Insurance. In fact, I just got my new insurance bills for my cars, and it went down. Couldn't believe it. My premiums dropped. So thank you, Larry. Thank you very much for taking care of that. All right.
I'm surprised he didn't insure your car. Doesn't it have like 800,000 miles on it now?
It's getting close. It's closing in on that. It's going to be in the Hall of Fame. It's going to be in a museum.
Phil, didn't I see a piece of gum holding
Smithsonian?
Didn't I see a piece of bubble gum holding your front bumper on earlier?
No, you did not.
Oh, okay.
That was a paper clip.
Oh, okay.
The paper clip. All right, another prediction. This is from Nicholas. He's got South Carolina winning 27-24. 27-24 over LSU. Send us your predictions. We'll do this now moving forward, starting on Wednesday nights. If you hit it on the nose, your South Carolina prediction, your Clemson prediction, going to treat you to lunch at Seawell's at your convenience. We'll schedule around your needs if your schedule fits our schedule. Let's go to Walt.
You don't have to do them both, correct? Just one or the other.
Yeah, one or the other. One or the other.
One or the other, okay.
Yeah. If you get them both right, bring a buddy.
There you go. Excellent.
Yeah?
Excellent.
Yeah.
And that's saying something because I've never even been taken to Seawells treated by Phil.
That is correct. It's because you're not special. Our listeners,
because you don't know where Gray Court is.
Our listeners are special.
Can I participate in this? Can I give my prediction?
No. Employees, family members, pets are not eligible to participate. Can we go to Walt in Gray Court? Hello, Walt. Welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing fine, gentlemen, and hope you guys are doing well, too. Hey, I have a question along the high school front as it relates to high school football games. And I wanted to know if you can answer this for me. What is the question is, there are some schools that have radio broadcasts of their football games. I know here in the upstate, Spartanburg Vikings have it, Dorman, as well as Burns, Gaffney. In the low country, the only team that I could find was Berkeley High School. I know Somerville used to some years ago, but they don't anymore. What Phil, can you tell me, what is that something that they choose to do? Does it affect the gate? Is the reason these schools don't?
Yeah, that's a good question. Some schools do believe that having a radio broadcast, and Bergie, you did high school football for a long time. There's some places that won't allow it because they think it will hurt the gate. I don't know. I think that's arguable whether or not it hurts the gate.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's negligible. You got to have a radio station who wants to do it, and for them to do it, of course, it costs. You got to have sponsors. You got to have sponsors who want to stand up and sponsor the broadcast to offset the costs. I love radio high school broadcasts all around the state. The guys who do it, a lot of them been doing it, Bergie, for 20, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
They're legends in their towns, and those guys are super. They're really dedicated to their teams and to their broadcasts. And the color guys are a hoot, a lot of them, because they're fans, they're homeboys, and they're pulling for their team. So it's really kind of fun to listen to. Charleston being Charleston, Walt, it's a different animal down there. And
right.
I guess the high school scene is. Charleston overall as a sports town. What's really big to them down there? Cougar basketball. When Citadel football is going big, that'll draw well. They have their professional events, but I think the high schools, maybe except for Somerville, when Fort Dorchester was going big, I think they would draw pretty well. But you heard David Shelton say on Friday night, by and large, attendance down around the Lowcountry area has not been good. Not been good.
I just found it odd because I know that Berkeley, I just recently found out that they have a radio station, and they're not as big as some of the juggernauts down there like Somerville or your Fort Dorchesters or Stratfords who don't have a radio broadcast. And I'm in the crowd that loves radio broadcasts, but I also love going to the games as well.
Well, now Bobby Harton just texted me, our affiliate in Charleston, ESPN Radio down there, and says they have high school football every Friday night. I wasn't aware that they were doing high school football this year. I knew they had done it in the past. That's why I didn't mention it. I wasn't aware they were doing high school football this year. So, Bobby Harton Station down in Charleston is doing high school football every Friday night. Probably doing I hate this now. I may be wrong. It might be like a game of the week sort of thing. He just confirmed it's a game of the week sort of thing. So that's great. Way to go, Bobby. Didn't realize they were doing it.
And Walt, one thing I think you'll find out too is the majority of schools that have high school broadcasts, radio broadcasts, are in the smaller towns around the state. Because out just down the road from you, I'll take Clinton High School, for example. Having done Clinton football, I know how important that is to that community. And the radio station there, WPCC, has done Clinton High School for a long, long time. You look in Lugoff and Camden, they've got their games on the radio. Newberry High School has their games on the radio. I think what you're going to find in the upstate, the Midlands, over this direction, and certainly down towards Charleston, it's usually the smaller areas that end up getting. Back then, now everything's changed, but it used to be small town AM radio stations. That was their cash cow in the fall, was high school football.
Hey, thanks very much.
Right about that.
Appreciate the phone call, man. Yeah, the upstate has plenty of broadcasts.
Yeah, no doubt.
They have plenty of broadcasts, and that's kind of the difference in the affection for the sport in the upstate, I think, is unmatched. Columbia.
Agreed.
The Columbia market has zero that I am aware
sad.
of. They have zero that I am aware of. Yeah. They there was a time when Tommy Moody was alive that he would do a game on the Gamecock station in Columbia. But otherwise, I don't think there is a live high school football play-by-play broadcast in the Columbia market. Camden does they do. I think they do both Camden High and Lugolf Elgin over at WPUB. Yeah.
The only thing I'm aware of is they do online radio broadcasts of high school football games, which it doesn't give the same nostalgia as a real FM game, I guess.
No, you need the static in the background and hard to pick up, and you have to drive right by the radio station at night, and they're cheating to boost their power on AM radio. See, this is what everybody misses now. This is when high school football is at its best. All the AM stations around the state just don't agree not to say anything, and they're all running full power at night because they're supposed to be turned down. But on Friday nights, you want to make sure you can get out as far as you can go.
See, Alan Smothers here. Now, he shoots me a text message saying mainly the reason they don't do it in Charleston is because the ADs know they can charge a fee and radio stations are not willing to pay it. Everybody in Horry County has one except for Green Sea Floyd's and St. James. But, again, Bobby Harton Station is doing high school football play-by-play there in Charleston. And Smothers, of course, handles many of the games in Horry County. That's his network down there. So he puts that together.
And he also does a TV broadcast.
And does a great job. And he never calls into our high school scoreboard show either. So thank you very much. Let's go to Hank in Columbia for our next phone. And I know he's like, I'm always home by the time you get on the air.
He does start earlier. Their games kick off at 7.
Welcome in, Hank. How you doing?
Doing fine, Corn. And one thing I say about the little high school thing is, a lot of them, like in Charleston area, they do a game of the week on TV, same way Fox does it up here in Columbia. And so, and a lot of schools are doing this kind of like a streaming video where you can actually go to the school website, and if you're not there, for some kind of little fee, you can stream and look into a stream of the game
for a price.
So there's just for a price. Yes, all those things are in there. But Corn, I just don't. Kentucky, we said, was not a good team. Correct.
Correct.
So how did Kentucky play Ole Miss so close? As bad as they are. And even when Kentucky left here, Kentucky went to Georgia, and we beat Kentucky but 38-13 or whatever. I can't remember what it was. Georgia beat them 35-15. LSU, I think it's a lot of these schools. You kind of talk. Sometimes I hear you talking, and it's like they got all these supremely good athletes, but I just don't see it anymore. I mean, I think LSU's defense will probably be pretty good, but one of the things about their defense they said is that they've not had a lot of sacks from their D line.
They're only giving up 12 points, but they're only giving up 12 points a game. I mean, they're only giving up 12 points a game. How do you get around that?
They played Ole Miss. They played Ole Miss and Clemson when their offense was struggling.
They played Clemson, Florida, and Ole Miss. And they gave
Florida was one game away from the coach getting fired, right?
They allowed 10 points, but my point is they gave up 10 points to Clemson, 10 points to Florida, and they got beat by Ole Miss. They gave up 24 points there at Ole Miss. I say holding Ole Miss to 24 points at their place is darn good defense. Darn good defense.
Yeah, I would say that. I would say it's good defense, but like when Ole Miss came into this year, it wasn't that they were going to, Ole Miss has been good and been better than expected, but coming into the year, they weren't expected to be super great. And even if you look at how bad we tackled them in Missouri had been averaging, 50 points a game before they got to us. They got, we gave up some yards not tackling well, and that was our defense's best performance.
Didn't they have a guy rush for Didn't Missouri have a guy rush for 250 yards or something? Or
yes, but that was the game that, like I said, that was the game that we didn't tackle well, but we still held them to 29.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Are you picking the Gamecocks to beat LSU?
Yeah, I think it'll
Holy
beat them out,
smokes!
I mean, I wouldn't bet the house on it. I wouldn't bet $2 on it. But I was just gonna say that as a Carolina fan. But I will say this, Corin. LSU's offense, if you go and you look at what their people are saying down there, they're not sure of their offense either. So I think that an X factor can be, how well our defense plays and how LSU handles Sellers. If Sellers is able to get going like he's done against in the air with his arm with Missouri and Kentucky game, we have to get the running game going. Like I said, the things you said are true. You got to hold it down. All line has to play solid.
Mm-hmm.
But Sellers could be the separator in the game because if he gets outside the pocket, it just he's the one that can make. It's kind of like Lamar Jackson with the Ravens, even though they're not doing well this year. He can change a game from his perspective, depending on how he plays and how he alters up and mucks stuff up.
Well, there's no doubt about that. You go back to last year's game, Sellers had a 4-yard touchdown run early. Then he had a 75-yard run for a touchdown in the second quarter. Eventually, he went down with that ankle injury, as I recall. Yeah. So he had 88 rushing yards. But you see, you had Sanders rushing for 143 yards. The Gamecocks rushed for 243 yards. They're not rushing for 243 yards against LSU Saturday night.
Well,
that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, but I thought LSU's offense last year was much better than what I've seen them this year. I watched all of the LSU games this year except for Kent State.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought their offense last year, even at whatever it just seemed way more consistent.
But the Gamecocks offense was much better last year than the way it's been this year.
It was called better to me. To me, it was called better. I think, I ain't gonna say we found anything in the Kentucky game because Kentucky was terrible, but I think those stretch zone runs, getting to the perimeter, that type of stuff, we did a lot more of that last year than we've done this year. Maybe they pull it out, but
all right. What's your prediction? What's your call? What's your prediction?
Let's say 27-24. Carolina with the garnet glasses.
Yeah, all right, 27-24. If you want to be eligible for the Seawells lunch, you got to text us to us at 803-900-4847, 803-900-4847. Thank you for that, Hank.
This. And Hank's sort of feather in his cap, I'll push back a little bit on the Ole Miss game because keep in mind, Ole Miss rolled up almost 500 yards of total offense and committed 14 penalties. I mean, they could have had nearly 600 yards in total offense if they played a little bit cleaner. I mean, Ole Miss, the game, the final score of that game made that one sound a lot closer than the game actually was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ole Miss dominated LSU. They just kept them in the game because they made stupid mistakes.
Eddie in Conway, he's got LSU over South Carolina 38-17. Big Dog in Allendale has local high school football game of the week. Thank you, Mike from Barnwell. Bird in Lancaster, 107.3, carries high school football as well, and so does our station in Newberry.
Hi, this is Billy Downer from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Are you looking for a safe place to shoot your rifle or handgun? Did you know that the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources operates 4 manned ranges across the state in Pickens County, Spartanburg County, Richland County, and Charleston County? For more information on our public ranges, visit dnr.sc.gov/shooting.
You work hard for your money. Shouldn't your money work hard for you too? Think about all the hours you've put in, the late nights, the early mornings, the dedication to your craft. Now imagine those dollars doing some of the heavy lifting for a change, growing quietly in the background while you focus on what matters most. Whether you're saving for a dream vacation, a new home, or just building a cushion for peace of mind, putting your money to work is one of the smartest moves you can make. Open a certificate at Founders Federal Credit Union and earn more with your savings. For a limited time only, Founders is offering 18-month certificates at 4.32% annual percentage yield and 18-month IRA certificates at 4.58% annual percentage yield. To get started, visit foundersfcu.com/dividend rates or one of our many convenient office locations. All you need is $500 to get started, but don't delay. These rates won't last. Open your certificate today. Your future self will thank you for opening a certificate at Founders. Federally insured by the NCUA. Membership qualification required. $500 minimum balance. 18-month term. Dividends compound quarterly. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wild from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hosteller-Brown. Did you know your will is designed for your assets to pass through the probate court? If you want to keep your loved ones out of court, a revocable trust is a great place to start. Visit lawyerlisa.com for more information and to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
This is Perry Orth, former South Carolina quarterback. On the field, my job was simple. Read the defense, protect the ball, and give my team the best chance to win. Off the field, at Moultrie Insurance, our job is no different. Help protect your business from the risk that you don't see coming, so you can focus on moving the ball forward. Just like a good quarterback, we anticipate challenges, call the right plays, and keep you protected. Trust Moultrie Insurance to cover your blind side and keep your business in the game. Visit MoultrieINS.com today.
Straight Up Sports is simply all sports, all the time. Straight Up Sports is a collection of retired and award-winning sports writers and sports broadcasters from around South Carolina.
Like Bob Gillespie from the State Newspaper,
Scott Kiefer from the Greenville News,
and Mark Sturgis from ESPN Upstate.
Straight Up Sports is about the stories,
just like the days gone by with no editors nor managers involved.
Check us out on Facebook or Twitter or online at straightupsports.net.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network. Let's see, what else have I got here? Predictions for the game. This is Lee. Lee has got LSU 35-14 and Clemson 42-20. And let's see, Preston. Oh, he forgot to include his name. He had USC 31-28 and Clemson 40-20. All right, appreciate all the predictions there. See if anybody hits it on the head. Send us your predictions. You can do it even when we're off the air because the line's always available. 803-900-4847. 803-900-4847. Let's go to Mr. Vince Northcutt with the Newberry College Wolves in a capacity that he's going to share with us. Jimmy Coggins of WKDK putting this together because the Wolves are winning football games and they want to win more. And in this day and age, you got to have some money in the bank. And they are about to step forward with a plan to do just that. Vince, good to have you with us tonight. How are you?
I'm good, Phil. I've been listening to you for about 25 years, so it's nice to finally get the chance to talk to you.
Well, thank you very much. It is great to have you with us. What are you guys cooking up there at Newberry?
Well, we just set up an NIL collective called the Berry Athletic Collective, LLC. It was incorporated on August 29th of this year, and we're starting to raise some funds for some NIL sponsorships for the student athletes at Newberry College.
So what is your goal here?
Well, I guess the primary goal is to try and remain competitive. We're never, I don't believe, going to be in a position where we can match the dollar figures that you're hearing at the higher levels of college football. But some of the schools in the South Atlantic Conference, namely Tusculum Catawba and Lenore Rhine, they've got some pretty eye-popping numbers put together, and so we just want to have an answer for that, and also to reward what can't be a reward. I shouldn't say reward, but to let the kids that play at Newberry College feel like they're getting some of the same experiences and benefits that you get at maybe a larger school.
So what kind of dollars do you guys have in mind here? What do you think you need to make this thing work?
Well, I don't know if we have a the legal fees to set it up are significant. We wanted, it was very important to us that we did it the right way, so we actually used the same law firm that Clemson and Carolina and the College of Charleston uses. Just to, anytime you're interacting with the NCAA, you don't want to cut any corners there. There's really no fixed number we have. We'd like, obviously the more we can get, the better. I was on a local radio show with Jimmy Coggins a couple of weeks ago, and I was joking with him. I don't think we're going to see any Porsche 911s in the players' parking lot at Newberry College, but enough to give these kids some a little extra spending money, maybe some money to put their parents up at a hotel or their grandparents up at a hotel on a road game, maybe take their girlfriend out to dinner. I don't think we're going. I would love to be wrong, and obviously we'll take as much as we can get. But it's really more so that you have some sort of answer to it. I think the worst place to be in any situation is to have your competitors out there, who have something that they can offer to a potential recruit or a potential transfer, and for our answer to that to be nothing. So it's mainly maintain some sense of competitive balance.
So we got about 30 seconds. Is there a place folks can go to reach out if they want to contribute?
Yeah, just look us up we have a Facebook group, the Berry Collective LLC, or we're on Instagram, and just send us a message, and I'll give anybody who's interested the where, what, and when, and how on how to donate.
The Berry Collective. All right. Good luck. The Wolves are off to a really good start, so they deserve a little compensation. Appreciate it. We'll be back.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. There's still no agreement in Congress on how to reopen the government. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is pinning the blame on Republicans for the 8-day shutdown.
It's not Democrats who are threatening to fire people or threatening to withhold back pay. It's the Republican side, Donald Trump, saying all of this, and the American people know it and will blame them for these mass firings and chaos.
At the same time, Senate Majority Leader John Thune says Democrats falsely claim that they have a way to reopen the government.
They've got a proposal that they say keeps the government open, that can't pass the Senate, wouldn't pass the House, and wouldn't be signed into law by the president. You tell me who was responsible for the government shutdown.
Former FBI Director James Comey appeared in court today, facing charges that he lied to Congress 5 years ago.
He pled not guilty at the brief arraignment. That plea will kickstart a process of legal wrangling in which defense lawyers will almost certainly move to get the indictment dismissed before trial, possibly by arguing the case amounts to a selective or vindictive prosecution.
Correspondent Mike Pasoli says a trial has been tentatively set for January. Authorities have charged a 29-year-old man with igniting the January fire the one that destroyed the Pacific Palisades neighborhood in Los Angeles. That fire was deadly. It killed 12 people and destroyed nearly 7,000 homes and buildings. Counter-terrorism police in Britain say that the assailant in last week's attack on a synagogue in Manchester that left 2 people dead had pledged allegiance to the Islamic State group. Checking Wall Street numbers, the Nasdaq rose by more than 1% today, adding 255 points in trading. The S&P 500 was up by 39, Dow unchanged. More at townhall.com.
Dinesh D'Souza went into a war zone to make his new film, revealing never-before-seen footage of October 7th. The film offers a new way to understand Israel, radical Islam, anti-Semitism, and biblical prophecy.
Could the fate of the world be tied to this place?
Dinesh D'Souza's new film, The Dragon's Prophecy, is in theaters 2 nights only, October 6th and 8th. Streaming and DVDs available October 9th. All tickets and pre-orders at thedragonsprophecyfilm.com. Thedragonsprophecyfilm.com.
When you bundle renters and auto with Progressive, you can save while protecting your most valuable possessions, like your really expensive limited edition sneakers and your new suit for your cousin's wedding. Except you never actually bought the suit because you can't stop buying sneakers. So you show up to the wedding looking like you're going grocery shopping. But hey, at least your sneakers will look good in the pictures, until you're cropped out of every last one of them. So go ahead and get Progressive, so you can save while protecting the things that matter to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Authorities say there is strong evidence against a man accused of trying to blow up a news vehicle in Utah.
Authorities say a man's DNA was found on a gasoline can that was placed under a television news vehicle in a failed arson attempt in Salt Lake City. Prosecutors say that 45-year-old Christopher Solomon Proctor lit a fuse attached to that plastic gas container after he put it under a news vehicle owned by the local Fox affiliate, KSTU-TV, on September 12th. The fuse went out before the gas ignited. A federal judge ordered Proctor to remain in jail until his trial. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Dolly Parton says not to worry, she ain't dead yet. That's what the country superstar shared in a social media video today following public speculation about her health. She had canceled some concerts late last month in Las Vegas, citing health challenges. News and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. A cold front approaching. It'll start to feel like fall again. This evening, look for a low temperature of 62. Tomorrow, we're cloudy early. That should clear up for a nicer afternoon. The high topping out around 71. We're in the low to mid-70s as high temperatures the rest of the week. While at night, look for our lows to land in the mid-50s. We should be dry all the way in the next week. I'm Cal Moss with your Odd Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
We are back on Sports Talk Media Network. Great to have you with us on this Wednesday night. Let's not delay. Time to get to another edition of Chalk Talk here on Sports Talk, brought to you by Palmetto Sports Connections, where they strive to inform and enlighten the people of the state of South Carolina, and they want to inform the sports fans in the states of moments in sports history through which people, places, schools, and teams, like this little interesting nugget involving Chuck Reedy and Ellis Johnson when it comes to Larry Fedora. Chuck Reedy gave Fedora his first college coaching job at Baylor in the early 90s. When Coach Johnson took over for Fedora at Southern Miss in 2012, Fedora was moving on to the job at North Carolina. More links to South Carolina coaches and players coming soon from Palmetto Sports Connections.
Get ready for a deep dive into the X's and O's. This is Chalk Talk with coaches Chuck Reedy and Ellis Johnson on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, let's welcome in Coach Ellis Johnson, Coach Chuck Reedy. Good to have Coach Reedy back in America. I'm glad that he got through customs and all that. Chuck, welcome in. Welcome back. How are you?
Thank you, Phil. I'm doing great. I'm sorry for the problem we had last week, but I'm sure y'all did fine without me.
Oh, I wasn't here either, so I'm sure it was a total bomb. Ellis, how'd y'all do last week? Did you do okay without us?
I don't know. I was so sad. I figured you and Chuck thought I had COVID or something. Neither one of you showed.
Hey, Ellis, if we offered you the job at North Carolina and we threw in Jordan Hudson on the side, would you take it?
I'd have to have a golf cart for practice and maybe a trainer in the front seat with me. I wouldn't make it to practice period number 17.
Period 17, that'd be it?
Well, it depends on how she looked that day. Maybe I'll make it a little longer. I don't know.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. Let's Ellis, you've been there before where, where a head coach gets a year and people are already jumping on his case, and that seems to be the case here at North Carolina. What do you think is going to be the end game here at North Carolina?
Gosh, I don't know. 20 minutes ago, I got a text from a friend of mine. Somebody's put it out on Twitter that he's trying to negotiate a buyout with the board or something right now. I don't know. I think all the build-up going into it creates a lot of these problems. You might think back now, I'm pretty sure Mac didn't win a game his first year, maybe.
You're correct. You're correct. Mm-hmm.
And within 3 or 4 years, he won more games in one season than anybody's ever been there.
Well, I think maybe he might have gone like 2-20 in his first 2 years there, something like that.
First 2 years, that's right. The first 2 years he won. He was 1-10.
Yeah,
both his first 2 years, because that's when we were at Clemson at that time, or I was. So they have short memories. If you look at North Carolina's history. And a North Carolina guy wrote this article about 6 or 7 months ago talking about the history of them in football. They almost have a culture there in their fan base that they think football is a mob sport or something. And when Jim, I think his name was Jim Tatum, somebody was hired back in the 50s or something, and half the alumni were up in arms because they thought they were putting too much emphasis on football. So, I mean, I'm not trying to defend Belichick. He doesn't need any defense. He's got about 50 rings on his hands. But I think that North Carolina's history should tell you a lot about why they're in the situation they're in. He ain't the first one that's ever come in there and had that happen to him.
Chuck, you were very good friends, as we mentioned earlier, with Larry Fedora, and obviously he was the head coach there at North Carolina for a little while. And what kind of stories would he tell you about the situation there in Chapel Hill that you can share when it comes to them trying to support a football program? Because there's been moments there when they were very good in football.
Yeah, and actually Larry had some good seasons early on in his tenure there. But the thing he told me, they talk a big game, but they do not want to put the money into it. And I mean, he was, at that time, I think Clemson was paying their coordinators, $1 million or so. And he said, maybe I can get $500,000 if I'm lucky. And, they would not put the money into it. The difference now is, they basically, from what you read, they've given Belichick, a blank check, and and they're spending the money, but they're not seeing a return on their investment, and that's the problem.
But I mean, it's only 5 games in. It's 5 games in.
I know that. I think it's just. I mean, if you watch them play, I mean, they don't look very good.
No.
I mean,
no.
They don't play with a lot of effort. They look out of position. You saw Clemson just dismantle them the other day. I mean, Klubnik's 22 out of 24. The guys were open all day. So
and I said this before. I mean, you would have thought with NIL and apparently they had the money, they could have gone out and brought in a decent football team. Certainly brought in a quarterback. You know, and so I don't know, with what they're playing with, you just wonder what they did with their NIL money.
Yeah, I was at that game, and Ellis, they just maybe the worst. I mean, it's hard to say this, but I mean, maybe the worst performance I've seen from a program at that level, what North Carolina did. As Coach Reedy said, no effort, bad tackling, bad angles on defense. It was like they really didn't care after they got behind after Clemson hit them with that touchdown pass on the first play.
Yeah, and one of the safeties just bit on a halfback pass. I mean, he's a deep half safety. I mean, so, you know, it gets down. I don't care what he runs on the 40. He's not looking where he should be looking, and he's biting on a halfback pass, you know, from a deep half responsibility. So, I mean, I don't think they did that with the Patriots, but maybe they did. I don't know. But I think there's a lot more problems than just the coaching staff and Bill Belichick. And I think, you know, I don't know, we can beat it to death, but frankly, I've never pulled for him. And somebody asked me the other day if I saw the fan at Virginia get run over by the kids coming on the field. I said, I don't know, but I'm not too worried about him. I've never liked the Wahoo.
You've never liked the Wahoos, and you've never liked Belichick. Well, I mean, is Belichick?
No, I didn't say that. I said I've never liked Carolina fans, Virginia fans. They're a lot alike.
Okay. My bad. I don't want to put words in your mouth. But, I mean, Chuck, is he a great – now, this is probably going to be looked at as a dumb question because he does have all those rings, but is he a great coach, or is he does he have all the wins because he fell into – you know, they drafted Tom Brady in the, fifth round, sixth round, and he turns out to be the greatest quarterback in the history of the game. Maybe Belichick had something to do with that. And they built a heck of a team, heck of an organization, and a heck of a team with an owner who knew how to make it all happen. They built that around him, but now, you know, he didn't do much with the Browns, but though Berge pointed out he did get to the playoffs once. And obviously he's flailing away here early in his career at North Carolina, as long as that happens to be.
Well, and after post-Brady, he didn't do very much either.
Exactly.
With the Patriots.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, now, you can't just say that Brady's the only reason that he won. Obviously, the guy, you know, I mean, he is a good football coach, I would assume, in the pro game. You know, the whole thing when they hired him, it didn't look good, and it's gone downhill from the day they hired him. And you know, and I don't think he'll be there next year. I'm like Ellis. I've seen the same thing, that they've already started talking about a buyout. You know, I don't see this working out.
You know, Ellis, I know you kind of follow the political side of sports as well, a great deal, the behind the scenes workings and the way things happen. The story came out earlier, I think it came out today, maybe last night, about one of the coaches being suspended for some benefits to players, like tickets to family members and nonsensical stuff in today's grand scheme of things as far as what you can and can't do. Do you think that's their way of trying to establish that they've got cause to fire him to try to reduce that $20 million buyout they would have to deal with?
Well, that happened at North Carolina.
Yeah.
Well, it could be, because that is trivial the way they're paying kids and everything today. What that does bring up to me, though, the staff that he surrounded himself with, that's when I started getting a little bit on the we got to wait and see side. I didn't think it was a great hire, a bad hire, or whatever. I thought if North Carolina put the resources and got out of his way, that it would work. But a little bit later, I started finding out who all he hired. And he tried to hire Stephon Gilmore. He's never coached a down. He did hire a kid who played for me at Southern Miss that played for him at New England. Never coached a down that I'm aware of. And that doesn't mean they're not going to be good coaches, but if that's who you're going to bring in to get this thing going, and they're dealing with all the NIL and other things and the coaching major college football, and then he brought a bunch of NFL guys, not a bunch, 4 or 5 NFL guys. I do know Freddie Kitchens, who's the offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, and he's an excellent football coach. Coached him as a player, and then he was on our staff at Mississippi State, and Freddie's got a good track record. But I'm surprised how poorly they're playing at quarterback, but I don't think they have the players.
Yeah.
And they took a kid from South Alabama. And then finally, Max Johnson, I mean, he's got a heart big as Texas, and he's got a bad leg, and he's not very mobile, and he's trying to do the best he can. But the whole thing to me is I don't know if he really knew what he was getting into. If he did, he would have put together a different staff. A staff that knew college football, maybe bring a couple of 3 figurehead NFL guys that put a little pizzazz in it or something, and then, neon hires or something like that. Maybe they can be the ones that tell them we can get you to the NFL. But they're not coached very well right now. And I heard from another coach, I hate to do this because you don't know if it's true, but this coach told me that there was a lot of negativity in the building. Just kind of the players are starting to feel it too.
It is Chalk Talk with Ellis Johnson and Chuck Reedy. Let's turn our attention to Clemson and South Carolina in our final few minutes here, Chuck. And you touched on Clemson's performance and the performance of Klubnik. I mean, they felt really good coming off that win, and I don't know, is that a turn-the-corner win for them, or do you consider the opponent and say, and it's probably going to be sort of the same thing this week at Boston College, but, I mean, when you get a team feeling good about itself and they maybe are thinking they're better than they actually are, but they might actually, when they play a better opponent, play better than they actually are.
Well, they've got the talent. I mean, they weren't a preseason number 4 because they didn't have talent. They just haven't played. The talent hadn't played very well up to this point. They played good the other day against the worst team in the conference. They may have the next worst team coming up this week. And the truth of the matter is Clemson will be favored in every game the rest of the season. I mean, unless they just fall apart, unless they drop another one somewhere. I mean, they're going to be favored in every game. And, they just, if they play like they did the other day and play to the level of their talent, they can run the table. I mean, it's simple as that. I mean, the difference is between them and South Carolina. South Carolina's going to be probably an underdog in all but one of their remaining games. Clemson's going to be favored in every one of theirs.
You think they'll be favored over SMU and Florida State and Duke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they got SMU, Duke, and Florida State all at home.
They do.
Yeah, they do. That's what I'm saying. I suspect, if they'll beat Boston College, and they'll be favored over Duke, and then Florida State, they'd probably be favored over them. I mean, I would think at home, and SMU hasn't played that well. So I mean, they can certainly go back and play like they did against Syracuse and get beat at Louisville, or Florida State. I don't know how good Florida State is. I mean, obviously they beat Alabama. That was a big win. But, since then they've lost to Virginia and got beat by Miami. So, you just don't know how good they are.
Ellis, South Carolina going to LSU Saturday night in Baton Rouge. And what do you think the Gamecocks have to do defensively? They've had a couple of weeks after that Kentucky game. What do you think they've kind of focused on? What do they have to tighten up defensively going into this one?
Well, they're both coming off open dates. That should help each team. LSU not running the football well, and it didn't have their top running back versus Ole Miss. I think Carolina's defense just needs to keep doing what they're doing. I mean, they probably have more trouble with big physical offensive lines and strong running backs. But even that seems to be getting a little better because some of those inexperienced kids in front and at linebacker, they're not that inexperienced anymore. They've had games under the belt, and they've done enough. I mean, they've scored on defense, they've created turnovers, they've given the offense the ball back in good field positions. They rush the passer extremely well in obvious pass situations. They just, they're doing some stuff really well. I think they're sitting somewhere at 30-something points allowed or whatever. But I think LSU is a tough matchup for them, but LSU can't find a running game. But they're good up front, and they're, that's where I think they've got to do it. They've got to stop that running game, then they can get out to Nussmeier, pretty much what Ole Miss did to him, and get out to Nussmeier, and he's not very mobile.
And, Chuck, from a Gamecock offensive standpoint, we've got about 90 seconds here for you. Mm-hmm. This defense from LSU has been really good. Even I think holding Ole Miss to 24 at their place is not a bad total. Ole Miss might have done some things to help keep it a little bit closer. But anyway, can the Gamecocks find some success? And if so, how do you think they'll have to do it against LSU?
Well, I think I think Sellers is going to have to play at a level that he hadn't played at so far this year. I mean, I think he's got to make plays, obviously throwing the ball, but he's also got to make plays with his feet. Last year, of course, we remember that game, and South Carolina should have won it. But Sellers made a bunch of plays, throwing and running. And they'll have to score in the kicking game or defense. I think they'll have to do that in order to score enough points to win.
Guys, as always, great having you on the program. Ellis, thank you. And, if Belichick and Jordan Hudson ever separate, we'll see if we can hook y'all up on, what's a good app? What app did you use, Chuck? Let's see. What app?
Do they have a coachesonly.com?
Is there an app for wayward coaches out there?
I can't get into that right now. If Sydney Sweeney finds out, she'll dump me.
Coachesonly.com.
Coaches only. Hey, good having you back, Chuck. Y'all have a great week.
You.
Talk to y'all next week. We'll be right back.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at ExperienceColumbiaSC.com.
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with the family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at sccattle.org. Beef. It's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff program.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wild from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
The lottery is not about getting rich. It's about helping people, and it always has been. The lottery is what helped raise the Great Wall of China, build the roads of Rome, and today in South Carolina, it's what generates millions of dollars each year for scholarships like the SC Hope, Life, and Palmetto Fellows. The South Carolina Education Lottery is investing in you. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou to learn more.
Hi, Phil Kornblut here with our good friend George Bryan III, heard every Friday night on Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps right here on Sports Talk. George, the Tsunami Bar, a very valuable tool for golfers. Why is that?
Well, the first thing that I say is the tempo. It's the only tool out there that allows the study of tension right from the first grab to be expressed, and rhythm and tempo is what makes the bar work, and it gives you something awfully special to keep those hands soft and get that rhythm going.
Learn more about Tsunami Bar technology by clicking on the digital ad on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and save 5% by purchasing online using the promo code BBB5.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
All right, let's go recruiting here on Sports Talk, brought to you by Seawell's. Let's go to Seawell's for the daily luncheon buffet, 11 till 2 o'clock, Tuesday through Friday. Fantastic. Won't find a better buffet anywhere for the price. It's only $15. And for the best catering service you can find anywhere, just call the folks at Seawell's and let them take care of your special event. That number is 803-771-7385, online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. An update on a top defensive end South Carolina's going hard after. This kid apparently is in the same category as like a Dylan Stewart. 6'4", 220, KJ Green of Stone Mountain, Georgia. And he's been to South Carolina several times. He says he loves everything about it. He can see himself fitting into their scheme, and it's not too far from home, which is perfect for him. He's been to games. He's been to a junior day. He's been to camp. He's been on recruiting visits. He was on the phone with Gamecock coaches as recently as yesterday. So they've been on him very hard from the get-go and continue to do so. He's been to games as well at Clemson, Nebraska, Southern Cal, Florida State, but Clemson's not really a factor with him. He said his top 5 in no order: South Carolina, Alabama, Southern Cal, Texas A&M, and a tie among Nebraska, Florida, and Texas. He's just a playmaker. 84 tackles, 27 tackles for loss, and 17 sacks in 7 games this season. 6'4", 220. Greenville defensive end Franklin Whitley was offered by Florida State. Boy, that's a young man who has blown up in recruiting. Clemson, USC have also offered. Alabama last weekend he visited, going to Auburn this weekend. 27 corner Joshua Dobson of Catawba Ridge, going to LSU Saturday. Of course, he's a Clemson and USC target. He's also been to Clemson, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Tennessee, Penn State, and Florida State this season, and he was at the USC-Virginia Tech game in Atlanta. 27 cornerback Amari Franklin of Warner Robins, Georgia, who is a USC target. He will visit Auburn this weekend. He picked up offers from Vanderbilt and LSU and Ole Miss. South Carolina and Clemson target cornerback Davion Jones of Charlotte plans to be at LSU on Saturday. That's recruiting. Stand by. SC Wild is up next.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. A cold front approaching. It'll start to feel like fall again. This evening, look for a low temperature of 62. Tomorrow, we're cloudy early. That should clear up for a nicer afternoon. The high topping out around 71. We're in the low to mid-70s as high temperatures the rest of the week. While at night, look for our lows to land in the mid-50s. We should be dry all the way in the next week. I'm Cal Moss with your Odd Point local weather.
The leaves are turning. The days are shortening, and the air is cooling. The call of the hunt, getting your gear together, and the walk to the stand are just the beginning of your next great hunting story. Palmetto State Armory is here to help get you prepared for this year's adventures. Top brands, trusted gear, unbeatable prices, and knowledgeable staff. Palmetto State Armory has everything you need to write your next story today.
This is an SRN News special report. I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. There appears to be a breakthrough in the 2-year-old Gaza war. President Trump has posted a statement saying Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of his plan that would pause fighting and release at least some hostages and prisoners. Following that announcement, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu said, quote, "With God's help, we will bring them all home." Earlier in the day, the president was sounding upbeat about a Gaza deal coming together.
It's something I think that will happen, got a good chance of happening. I may go there sometime toward the end of the week, maybe on Sunday, actually.
Negotiators have been meeting in Egypt for days now, hashing out a U.S.-drafted peace plan aimed at ultimately ending the Gaza war, which began 2 years ago yesterday. This has been an SRN News special report.
Nobody plans for a plumbing problem. They come unannounced and usually at a very inconvenient time. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is your trusted ally. They recognize just how vulnerable a customer is at this time, and they want to help. They have well-trained plumbers who are there to make a difference when you need it most. I've experienced this. They're knowledgeable about their craft. They're not coming to your house to pitch new products. If something is broken, they'll give you a price to fix it if it's possible, or a price to replace it if necessary. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is also locally owned and operated, or I simply wouldn't endorse them. Josh and his team prioritize customer service above everything else. They handle every issue with care and precision. Those are not just words. I've had Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning out to my home. They back up those words with their actions. If you have a crisis, get some peace of mind. Online, you find them at franklinplumbing.sc.com, or you call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. I'm absolutely positive they will make whatever is wrong right again. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning.
Energy powers every moment, from the sizzle of breakfast to a warm bath at night. That's why Dominion Energy offers tools and tips that help make saving energy easier. Spend less time thinking about your power and more time enjoying what it powers. It's your energy, and it should work for you. Get started at dominionenergy.com/savings.
Hey y'all, this is Ted at Flight Deck Restaurant. We at Flight Deck Restaurant would like to honor those that sacrifice so much for our community. We're now offering 20% discount to all law enforcement officers, first responders, active duty military, hospital workers, ministers, chaplains, rabbis, and priests will receive 20% off your meal for all those that serve. Flight Deck Restaurant wants to thank you for all that you do to keep us safe, healthy, and free. Just show your ID and enjoy a great meal for 20% off. Flight Deck Restaurant in Lexington. Thanks, y'all, and God bless.
What's better than getting the best Wagyu and Hereford beef anywhere in these parts and getting it delivered to your door? How about knowing you're still supporting local farmers in Saluda over at H&J Cattle, where tradition meets quality? Visit HandJCattle.com. Place your order for $50 or more, get free delivery in Richland or Lexington County. Plus, Point listeners get 10% off your order. Enter keyword The Point as one word for your discount. HandJCattle.com.
Do you crave growth for your business? That's where The Point comes in. Fran Halloran here. Kevin Cohen and the other local hosts like me have worked to create a space where listeners transform into family. Are you a local business aiming for the stars? You need to get with Kevin and let him help create an individualized blueprint for your growth using the influential stage of The Point Radio. Reach out directly at 563-8558. Teaming with The Point, make this year extraordinary.
Hello, this is Stacy Huff, host of Huff Nation Sports Zone, each and every Saturday, 10 to 11 a.m. right here on 100.7 FM, The Point, and also 1470 a.m. It'll be a fun trip around the world of sports. Huff Nation Sports Zone, check it out.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
It's SC Wild with Major Billy Downer from the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer is here to answer your questions about the great outdoors. Call in now at 888-898-2525 and join SC Wild on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Great to have the Major back with us here on Sports Talk SC Wild from the Department of Natural Resources. Major Billy Downer joining us once again. And Major, welcome in. Great to have you with us here on this early October evening in South Carolina. A little warm today, but it sounds like we got some cool weather moving in.
Absolutely. It's good to be here again, Phil. But yes, certainly cooler weather coming into the week, which is perfect timing because deer season across the state will be wide open once we get to October the 11th. So game zones 1 and 2 are waiting for the gun season to start, and that starts October 11th. And that's just literally 3 days away. So Saturday can't come fast enough, and cool weather will be coming in just in time. As we always say, October, November, somewhere in there, the last 2 weeks of October, first 2 weeks of November, typically when you see the rut in South Carolina, already seen some deer, bucks chasing does, which is that pre-rut you see this time of year as soon as you get a cold snap. So it'll be interesting. But yes, the rest of the state will come in and it will be gun season everywhere. Right now it is primitive weapon season for game zones 1 and for game zone 2. But that's going to change quickly here on the 10th. The 11th.
What exactly is primitive weapon season?
So primitive weapon season typically would be a archery equipment or muzzle loading equipment.
Really?
So yes.
Are there people out there who use muzzle loading equipment?
There are. Other states have very defined, and I say that kind of tongue in cheek because I'm here from the low country and we've never worried about primitive weapon season. The upstate, though, in game zone 1 and 2, they have had a 2-week season before, for a long time, before the gun season, where they can only use archery equipment or muzzleloading equipment. So it is something that people in the upstate do pay attention to. But a lot of states, their primitive weapons or their archery season or muzzleloading season is a lot longer than their gun season. So people really get into archery hunting and muzzleloading, so they have lots of opportunity. So in this state, if you're in the game zone 1 and 2, you do learn how to shoot, a bow and arrow. You get good at archery equipment, or good at a muzzleloader. Get a good muzzleloader set up, so that you can hunt more days. In the lower part of the state, we're not used to that because the lower part of the state opens August 15th and goes through January 1st, and it's gun season the whole time. Sumter County, Clarendon County, game zone 4, we come in on the 1st of September, not too far behind that. These other portions of the state, they have to wait. And on top of that, now I don't want to act like archery is not a big deal in this part of the state either. Folks that get real good at rifles and shoot deer at long distances sometimes become bored with that, and they want to really learn a new skill, and they start archery hunting. Because archery hunting, I've done it, I enjoyed it. Haven't done it in a few years, but it takes a different skill level. You've really got to watch your scent. You really got to watch the wind and know feeding patterns, because your range is about 30 yards, 40 yards typically. Now, modern day archery equipment can go a little further than that, but typically that 30 yards and in is what you want with archery equipment, and that's up close and personal. And then just because you pull the bow back doesn't mean everything goes right. You could jerk the string, mess up on your aim point, and the arrow could fly, or the arrow could hit a twig or a limb that you didn't see and shoot off away from the deer. I've done that before. So it's a lot different than rifle hunting. Muzzleloading, today's muzzleloader are so modern in their ignition system. It's not like black powder anymore. They have the black powder. They have what they call these pellets that are measured amount of powder that are in kind of a hardened pellets you stack in the bullet. You still load it from the muzzle. They've got some now where you load from the breech and you put your projectile from the muzzle, so it's still a true muzzle loader. But it's so different now with muzzle loading, and they're accurate out 250 yards, just like a rifle. So muzzleloading not quite the skill level as archery. But yes, so we do have some archery and muzzleloading, just not as big of a deal in this part of the state. Up part of the state right now, for instance, they're using archery and muzzleloading because that's what they've got. That's what the season's open for. So it is big there.
All right. We have a caller for you has a question about deer hunting. If you have a question for the Major, feel free to give us a call, 888-898-2525. I think I hear your dogs in the background. 888-898-2525 is the number. And you can also send us a text message question. That number is 803-900-4847, 803-900-4847. It's Danny and Casey. Welcome in, Danny. You're on the air with Major Billy Downer here on SC Wild.
Yeah, I just want good evening, guys. I just want to know what is the best kill shot for deer so they don't suffer. Because I know we got a lot of people out there hunting deer and tracking them down, looking for the blood and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what can we do? Where can you shoot the deer where it drops?
So that's a great question. Typically, your fatal shot or a shot for a deer is going to be in, so two schools of thought here. If you're very accurate, neck shots drop a deer very quickly. No suffering, the deer dies almost instantaneously because it basically breaks the spine and the deer goes down very quickly and the major blood vessels are there in the neck. But if you're not a good shot, that neck shot you can miss, or you can actually do more harm to the deer than good because you might graze the deer or something. Most folks take what would be considered a shoulder shot, and they shoot forward in the shoulder. I always used to tell young people when they were hunting deer for the first time to take your scope and your crosshairs and take the vertical crosshair and put it along the leg, where it's matching up with the leg, move the horizontal up to the mid part of the body, and then slowly squeeze the trigger. And that's typically a good fatal shot and a quick kill. And that's what we want, is an ethical shot that makes a quick, clean kill, which is what you're asking. So those are your two shots, your neck shot or your shoulder shot, in that, again, right up the leg. Basically, right in the heart, lung area is your best shot. So that's the best shot.
Anything else, Danny?
No, that's it. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that very much. Phone number 888-898-2525. You have a question or comment for Major Downer about deer hunting season or anything else involving the outdoors that the Department of Natural Resources might be involved with. So with the cooler temperatures coming, what else besides the deer out there will be the hunters will be going after here the next few weeks?
Well, right now it's going to be focused on deer. I can tell you that the deer are your big as far as that's what everybody's hunting right now.
Yeah.
You got small game coming up. So in South Carolina, you've got some of that coming around the corner, and you've got raccoon season coming, and that's what folks will be after there. But as far as the season coming up there, but right now, deer is where it's at. That is what everybody is focused on, and that's really, that's what everything's about right now. So, squirrel season just came in October 1st. You do have your raccoon season is in as well, and there are some folks doing that, but it's just so hot still.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it's hot like this, it's not typically. Folks don't want to go hunt right now when it's so hot. Some of your raccoon hunter, your coon hunters, they're really gung ho will go right now. But deer is pretty much the focus this time of year in October. Again, we get to October, November. Now, when you get toward Thanksgiving, rabbit season comes in November. You get squirrel season. It gets colder. It'll be a lot better there. And then, again, coon season gets in. When it gets cold, I always think of coon hunting when it's cold.
Mm-hmm.
Folks like to coon hunt when it's colder. But right now, deer is the main focus. And as we said, we're approaching, if we get some cold weather, it's probably going to get deer moving, kind of tickle their fancy a little bit, get those bucks coming out looking for does. And when bucks do that, whether it's pre-rut or the rut, they are not paying attention as much, and they're not as careful, and so they'll come out in daylight hours when they may otherwise not, and that's a chance for a hunter to take a very nice animal. So looking forward to some cool days coming up, especially these first cold days. Deer tend to really get hyped up in those first cooler days, and folks will be hitting the field looking for them, and it kind of is going to match up for this weekend, which is great because the season will open up across the state for gun season. So that'll be good as it comes up.
And I think we should remind folks, I think we do this every year, but I mean, I've been up and down the highways, for the last couple of weeks, and I mean, I'm seeing a lot of deer strike, the results of deer strikes on the side of the road. And, I mean, you just have to kind of have your eyes open and be aware, especially if you're driving the 2-lane roads, the back roads of the state. But I see them on the interstates as well. And, again, I've asked you this before. Whose responsibility is it to go out there and clean up the dead deer along the interstate?
So that's DOT or your counties, but most of the time it's DOT, and they have a crew that goes out and gets the deer off the road because they are a hazard for drivers because people trying to miss a dead deer on the road. Of course they're a hazard when they're alive. And just a reminder, folks, don't jerk the wheel with a deer. If you try to avoid the strike with a deer, you could end up wrecking, worse, flipping. People flip, run off the road, get in the ditch, or hit oncoming traffic. It's better to strike the deer than to try to miss the deer and to hit an oncoming car. So just things to think about. But when deer are dead on the road, it becomes a mess, and people are trying to avoid it, and that becomes an accident waiting to happen as well. But DOT is what picks it up. But a good point to make as it gets cooler and deer start getting a little bit more moving. And right now we've got a full moon, so deer are moving at night. So understand that when there's full moon and it's cold, deer will be moving. And when they're moving, they're going to move across the road because the roads, they don't think about roads. Roads are just something they cross going from one place to another. And they're not worried about you. They don't think about you. They're just trying to get to the other side, other piece of property, where they're going for feed, for bedding, or if it's bucks looking for does, they're looking to breed. So they're not thinking about the road, and you've got to keep your eyes open for that, particularly on cold nights and on a full moon night.
How effective? I guess they are pretty effective because you see them on like highway patrol cars and a lot of trucks, the bars. I don't know what the exact term for them happen to be. I guess maybe deer shields or something. How effective?
Push bars.
Is
the
that
push bumpers work? Yeah, the big trucks put them on because it protects the truck from damage. Those big push bars, kind of like the old those old metal grates on the front of the cow pushers on the front of the railroad.
Yeah.
On the old your old engines. That pushes the deer off and prevents damage to that fiberglass behind because most trucks today are made of fiberglass. So that metal push bumper helps with that, and it is effective in doing that.
Yeah.
But, something else you talked about that you wanted to mention tonight, and I thought it'd be a good time to talk about it a little bit, Phil, is after the game is taken, after you take that deer, if you've got doves in the freezer right now and you're going, what do I do with it? A lot of people shoot game and then don't – and want to eat it, but don't know what to do with it. So a couple of quick recipes tonight wanted to go over. You made mention of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk about that tonight for a moment is, first of all, game preparation. What do you do? Remember, let me say this about deer before we get off of that. When it's hot right now, it's important to get deer to the cooler as quick as possible. You don't want to leave a deer in the back of your vehicle or truck or bed, ride it around, showing people for hours. First of all, some people may not want to see it. Keep that in mind. People that put deer on the back of the tailgate and ride around, so folks have to see it. Be respectful of others. Others may not want to see that. They may not mind you shooting it, but they may mind it in their face when they drive it behind you. So think about that a little bit. But get that, put that deer in the back of the truck, close the tailgate up, and take that deer to a processor as soon as you can. It doesn't have to be in the first 15 minutes. Doesn't have to be in 30 minutes, but at least in that hour or two, get to the processor when it's really hot so that deer doesn't spoil. That's important. When you get to the processor, if you know how to clean a deer, you want to make sure that you remove the entrails, the inside of the deer. That helps keep the deer cool as well. Those are things you can do to keep the meat fresh. If it's going to be a while before you get the processor, at least do what we call field dress the deer, which means you remove the entrails out of the deer and you leave the deer body cavity in place. But keeping it in the shade, A lot of folks that dog drive and do those kind of things, they're in the hot sun a lot. And you've got to learn to keep that deer out of the sun, keep it in the shade, and get it to a cooler or to a processor as soon as possible. Because you don't want to take a deer and then waste that meat with something because you didn't take care of it on the way there or didn't get it there soon enough. With doves, same thing. People don't think about it in a dove field. It's very hot. You know, a lot of folks now have a little cooler with them. Put a bag in there, a grocery bag, put your doves in the bag, keep it in the cooler so the doves stay cool so that they don't go bad as well. A lot of folks, you know, when it comes to cleaning doves, I always amaze people with this one. And for years, people take the dove breast out intact and just pull it out of the bird, and they keep the meat, the breast on the bone, basically together because they don't know how to take the meat off. But there's some simple steps to remove the meat off that can't explain on the radio. But you can show somebody in the video. But it's just easier if you take that meat off the bone, and then you could put it in any kind of bag. You know, put it in a Ziploc. Take as much air as you can. Best choice is always to use like a vacuum sealer. To vacuum seal it to get all the air out because that helps the meat stay fresher longer. If meat stays in the freezer too long, it will get what's called freezer burn, and exposed air inside the bag will help the meat get burned faster. But doves and deer, things like that, for doves, bringing them out, thaw the meat out. Again, always freeze meat before you use it. Let me say that. Freezing kills 90% of the bacteria when you're cooking game, so that you can cook game from the standpoint of medium to medium rare. Game is typically less fat. We talk about that all the time on the show. Because of that, game is tougher if you cook it all the way to gray to dead, as I call it. But most wild game is better medium to medium rare. If you don't like medium rare, at least go medium, maybe medium well. But game is so much better, medium rare. But doves are so easy to cook. Basically, you can take them, thaw them out, put them in some Italian dressing, either from the store or make your own. Let them soak for 24 hours. Take that dove breast out. Take 2 pieces of breast together. You wrap them in a half piece of bacon. Take 1 piece of bacon, cut it in half, wrap it around it, stick it with a toothpick. Put that on the grill or in the oven. The grill's best. At 350 on the grill pretty much, or in the oven, 350. And on the grill, just depends on how your grill cooks or how your oven cooks. Basically 10 minutes on each side, 20 minutes tops, and it's pretty much ready, is the best way to cook a dove. Now, if you want to kick it up a notch, you can take between those 2 dove halves, you can put some jalapeno cream cheese. You can get Philadelphia cream cheese with the jalapeno pieces already in it.
Ooh.
Put a little dive of that in there, a little spoonful in between the breasts.
Daddy
wrap
like.
that in bacon.
Daddy like.
You put that on the grill, and as they say, that'll make your tongue slap the back of your head. It's that good. And I've seen lots of people like to use the colored your green peppers, yellow peppers, red peppers, cutting those up, wrapping the breast or putting that between the breast. Those are good as well. Some cream cheese. Anything like that works real well.
You still like before you go to deer with your dove meat. You still like injection?
So you don't have to inject doves. You just put them. You basically soak it, let it sit in a bath of Italian dressing in a bowl, and let it sit overnight. Cover the bowl, or you can put it in a marinating bowl, whatever. Cover the bowl with some Saran wrap. Put it in the refrigerator. 24 hours. Let it soak. If you take a fork and stab the meat, that's kind of like injecting it. It lets that dressing get into the bird. You can inject the bird, yes, you can do that. But with doves, usually the meat is already easy. It will soak that dressing up pretty quick.
Okay.
But that's my favorite with doves. It's probably the best ever. So deer meat, everybody does deer meat different. It depends on the cut of meat. Hamburger, get your deer cut in a hamburger. You can use that in anything from your chili recipe, your favorite spaghetti recipe. You can make hamburgers with it. Typically, though, hamburgers are drier if you don't add something to them. But now with those great devices you can buy online or in the store that you can, make that patty and mash that patty together. You can take the patty of deer meat. You can put some different, maybe either Heinz 57, A1 into the meat and push that meat together. You can even sprinkle cheese in the middle of it and push that meat together, and that makes a really great hamburger. Putting some bacon pieces in there. Grind up bacon, tear it up and put little bacon chunks in the meat. That adds to the meat, gives it some fat. Most processors put some type of pork fat. Typically, they will put pork fat into that meat if you ask them to, and that's a great suggestion because, again, deer meat's very lean. It's very good for you because it is all natural. It hasn't got any injections in it. It hasn't got any proteins injected in any of the growth hormones, none of that. They're just good old South Carolina deer. But they're very lean meat, so you've got to add something to kind of get that meat juicy. You could even use olive oil and mix with your hamburger meat to give it a little juice so that it'll cook right on the grill and won't get too dry. So a lot of tricks with hamburger meat. The cuts of steak depend on how you get your deer cut. One of my favorite things to do is get the loin cut whole. And I know we're getting short on time, but that loin is the meat that goes down the back, and that is premium. That's like prime rib on a deer. You take that loin, cook it. You can cut that loin, lateral down the loin, then cut it crossways into chunks. You can put that in a marinade of your choice. Game tame, you could put it in anything you like. You can put it in Italian dressing if you like. I prefer some of the great dry rubs and the different marinades you can get that you can mix with an olive oil base. I love, there's one that is garlic peppercorn is my favorite. And sometimes it's hard to find that one, but it's a good one. If you can get a garlic peppercorn marinade you mix with some olive oil, a quarter cup of olive oil, a quarter cup of red wine, mix that up, about 2 tablespoons of vinegar. It makes a great marination for a deer loin, makes it a little bit hot. I love that marinade. Again, if you take it, you can make it on you put those pieces of that loin on a shish kebab. You can put green pepper, red pepper, yellow pepper with it, onion, mushrooms, and grill that on your grill. I would grill that, again, medium rare for sure to medium at best. And it is so good, you'll throw steak away almost to eat that. I promise you.
Do you ever, we got about 30 seconds, do you ever smoke it?
I have never smoked deer.
Okay.
I know some people that have a little bit. Smoking is probably better on birds, like I know with doves. Smoking a dove can be really good. Smoking quail can be good. But that's a basic cut. And then there's another basic cut you can get on deer is cube steak. And cube steak's so easy. You fry cube steak.
Yeah.
And you put mustard on there. And then batter them up and fry them.
You've made me hungry.
Yes, sir.
Great job, Major. You enjoy the next couple of weeks. Be safe out there. Keep everybody straight. And we'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks.
Be safe.
Thank you very much. Always great stuff from the Major, Billy Downer. If you missed anything tonight, everything will be up in podcast form at our podcast spots. Check them out. We'll see you tomorrow.